Hello everybody, and welcome to a new video. You get these people on YouTube who are all enthusiastic when they start the videos. I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but I can't do that. Today we're talking about UK politics. No one's enthusiastic about UK politics. And I'm going to be talking about how Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn come across as human beings. And I did some I'm getting something out of my bag now if you can't hear. I did some pathetic thing on Microsoft Word, so I apologise in advance. You've got Jeremy Carbine. I don't know if you know what a carbine is. It's this thing. It's a gun. And you've got Theresa May. Theresa Mace. A sort of spray that you spray at people and it goes in their eyes and they go, "Ah! Why did you spray me?" I'm going to have to explain why I did that on Microsoft Word, aren't I? Right, okay. Here we go. This is a tenuous link between what I've just shown you and politics. Theresa May, I believe, almost blinds people to the fact that she is just a normal human being because of the fact that she is such a strong speaker. Whereas Jeremy, who isn't as strong of a speaker and doesn't necessarily dress as well and keep up as good of an appearance, which I know it's coming from me, I've got this terrible facial hair, I don't know what I'm going to do about it, but Jeremy doesn't do that and I don't think it helps him, okay? There are various ways in which I noticed watching Prime Minister's Questions with Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn as the shadow person. Is there a tractor outside? Oh, I hate life. Okay. Jeremy speaks like this. Austerity and people are poor and it's sad. And Theresa speaks like this. I'm a Tory. I'm going to bring the country back together. Labour is dead, basically. Ha ha ha. Go and cry like the turtle you are, Jeremy, because the Tories are taking over. That's what Prime Minister's Question Time... I keep saying fucking Question Time. Prime Minister's Questions was like, and it was horrible to watch. Every time Jeremy made a fairly decent point, he wouldn't get much vocal support from his Labour cabinet. Whereas when Theresa would make any point whatsoever, the whole of the Tory benches almost screamed. No, they didn't almost scream. They jeered very loudly in support of everything she said. And it made the Labour bench look very weak. It made Jeremy look very weak. And it made Theresa look like she was on fire. She wasn't literally on fire. But, you know, that's probably not a surprising way in which politics could go in the next few weeks. I mean, we've seen Theresa May made the Prime Minister of the UK without an election, so if she sets on fire, that wouldn't even surprise me now. Donald Trump may get in office in America. Yeah, if Theresa May sets on fire, I'll be like, yeah, I was expecting it. But she does look more powerful than Jeremy. In very superficial ways, and I think the general public really warmed to this. It's sad, it's unfortunate, but they really warmed to the way Theresa is, okay? I can't believe I'm going to say this on YouTube, right? But the way she grooms her hair, okay? She obviously uses hairspray, she looks well dressed, I'm sorry to say it. She has a smart blue suit, she's always wearing a necklace of some sort, she stands up straight, unlike me, unlike Jeremy, she points a finger, she speaks in a deep voice which Andrea Leadsom didn't have. I was thinking about that when I was watching Prime Minister's Questions. If that was Andrea Leadsom stood there as the new Prime Minister of the UK, she'd be having the same problems as Jeremy, because she isn't as good of a speaker as Theresa is. The media have presented Theresa as the new Margaret Thatcher. And just because she's a woman and she's a hard-right Tory, not far-right, hard-right, she is now, in the eyes of millions of people, she basically is Margaret Thatcher. That is the power of the media. She is the new Margaret Thatcher. Because the people have made the comparison, she's automatically now a powerful woman who is going to stand up for this country in the minds of the people, and she is not going to back down because she is the new Margaret Thatcher, apparently. And Jeremy, who gets hounded on a daily basis, is now this very weak man who can't do anything, despite the fact that 172 members of his cabinet stepped down because they didn't like him, and he lost the vote of no confidence, and multiple people are trying to take his place, but apparently he's weak. But if you do watch him in Parliament, in some ways he is weak. He hunches over. He has actually smartened up his suits, so the media can't talk about that anymore. But he hunches over and he speaks in very serious tones. If you look at his face, he doesn't smile anywhere near as much as Theresa. Theresa is almost cracking a smile every 5 minutes, probably because she's the new Prime Minister, which actually at this time isn't a very good job to have, because the country's in a mess, but I guess it is quite exciting, and she gets to bully Jeremy on a weekly basis. But she's enjoying it, and Jeremy's very solemn, and people do not warm to that. He looks like this very meagre, weak character, which is quite hypocritical coming from me, because I'm not the strongest of guys. I don't look like a future film star, but neither does Jeremy, and people don't warm to it. He's talking about very serious things. Food banks, people who can't afford to feed their kids, whereas Theresa is doing what a lot of people love, the sort of people that read the Daily Mail and the Telegraph. She's talking about bringing the country back together in the same way that Donald Trump talks about making America great again. She hasn't quite explained how she's going to do this, how she's going to get the UK out of... It's trillions of pounds worth of debt now, isn't it? Thanks to George Osborne. You know, apparently the Tories are good for the economy, even though we're in worse debt than we've ever been, and the pound is decreasing, and our status in the world is decreasing. Everything seems to be going wrong, basically, but because she's a strong-looking woman, not physically, but in terms of the way she speaks, in terms of the way she really points, and she's got everyone behind her, the Tories jeering and backing her, and Jeremy's got no friends, basically, apart from John McDonnell and Dennis Skinner. It's not looking good. Not in the Parliament, anyway. On the streets, maybe. When Jeremy comes out on the streets, thousands of people come to listen, and the Tory papers, I'm going to call them the Tory papers, don't report on that. They report on what's going on in Parliament, and people see the clips from Prime Minister's questions and see Jeremy looking weaker, speaking weaker, looking very solemn, and seeing Theresa basically storming the house. She's on fire. Not literally, but that may happen, as I've mentioned earlier in the video. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give it a like. If you did, please subscribe. I think there's a ghost in the house, like in one of my previous videos. I didn't mention that. When I was recording, I heard a creak in this house, and I got really scared, and that's happening again now. So please subscribe, please like this video if you enjoyed it. Cheers.